Well, happy Friday, everybody. Not only is it the end of this week, it's the end of January. Amazing how quickly it passes. But hey, God is still God and life is still good when you live it for Him. And that's my takeaway from Proverbs chapter 3 is that when you live for the Lord and you live in the wisdom of God, it just makes life better and you sleep better. It really does. I love the Proverbs. And Proverbs 3 is just, it's a great proverb. And the challenge I have is it's hard to pick out one or two verses, that really stand out because there's just so much here. It's like every verse or every phrase, you could just talk about it and think about it because it's so very, very rich. And so I love reading the Proverbs. So instead of picking one verse, I just want to share with you a few things that spoke to me when I read it this time. One is I love the image near the end in verse 24 when he says, when you lie down, you will not be afraid. And when you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. When he's talking about previously in this proverb is when you live according to the wisdom of God and you obey God and you trust God and so on, you don't stumble, you don't make stupid decisions as often. And the result is you're able to have peaceful sleep. You're not sleeping with guilt, you're not sleeping with fear and worry about being discovered or anything. I mean, when you live right, you sleep well. And I just love that image. Also in this proverb, verse 5 spoke to me where he says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. That spoke to me because I guess I had in mind yesterday's devotion, when we read Genesis 16 and Sarai had not been trusting God. And so she came up with this scheme for Abram to have a child by her maid Hagar. She was the opposite of verse 5. Verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. What did she do? She came up with her own plan. She's a perfect example of the opposite of verse 5. And so that spoke to me that rather than scheming, we just need to trust God. I've often said, let God fight your battles for you. Because a lot of times when you fight, you become more like the one you're fighting. So you have to be really careful. Another verse that I liked on a personal level is, excuse me for coughing so much today, is verse 3, where he says, do not let kindness and truth leave you. Do not let kindness and truth leave you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. Wow. Kindness is part of the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians 5. It's also love because in 1 Corinthians 13, the Bible says love is kind. I've often wondered about people who go to church their whole life and they're jerks. They're jerks. They don't show a lot of kindness. They gossip, they talk about people, they're blunt in a way that's just insulting to people. They're just jerks. See, religion doesn't make you kind, but growing in Jesus, being a disciple, does. And that should be evident in all our lives that we know how to be kind and we're not jerks. Another verse, and I'm a preacher, I'm a pastor, so I have to point this one out. Verse 9, honor the Lord from your wealth and from the first of all your produce. Okay, I'm a pastor. Got to point out to you, giving, generosity, tithing, biblical. It's what Christians do. And then one last one, because I think it speaks to our culture today, is verse 7, where he says, do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and turn from evil. That verse, to me, describes what is wrong in our culture today, because our culture is the opposite of verse 7. Our culture thinks it's smarter than God. Our culture thinks it's smarter than God when it comes to sexual issues, when it comes to so many issues, wise in our own eyes. Because of that, we don't turn from evil. See, man is always seeking to justify the sin he wants to commit. That's our culture. You think you're smarter than God, and it always results in evil, and that is America today. So, not really one devotional thought, just a whole bunch of them, because I could say something probably about every verse in this proverb. And I imagine most of them said something to you as well. I hope you enjoy reading one of these proverbs each Friday. I'll see you Sunday. Look forward to being with you after being gone last week and Brian Hausman preaching, and then on my study retreat this week. But I look forward to being with you Sunday morning for worship, and then Monday as we resume our reading in the book of Genesis. We are in chapter 17 on Monday. God bless you, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you Sunday. Bring somebody with you. Bring somebody with you. Bring somebody with you.